Well, surprise, it's not Kelly. I am not Kelly. But I'm very honored that Kelly has invited me to be a guest artist on her Book and Paper Arts channel. Super excited about that. Little history on that is I've known Kelly via Instagram and YouTube for quite a long time, back when we were both brunettes and we kind of went gray together, which was pretty super cool. And we followed along with each other, even though we're half a world apart. Kelly is in Wales, I am in San Diego, California. But we always keep touch with what each other's doing vicariously through the airwaves. So I'm really honored that Kelly invited me to post on her channel while she's out traveling the world, and hopefully when I go out and travel the world coming up soon, she can do the same for me. And I love how when things work out that way. But let me take a moment and introduce myself. I am Denise Cerro of Denise Cerro Studio. I'm a full-time working artist. I do have a YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is pretty much whatever I'm working on that week as a professional artist. It might be an art show, it might be actually doing a piece of art or just showing a technique, but it's more the day in the life of an artist. So I'll add a link down in the description so you can head over there and take a look at my channel. But for now, what I want to share today is one of my art journal pages. And my art journals are a place for me to play, to experiment with new things, to take on the road with me if I'm traveling, or if I'm in a creative mood and I just don't feel like dragging everything out. I do like to keep my art muscles in shape. So that's what I use my journal for. And oftentimes I will turn those journal pages into a painting. So what I'm going to do for you, show you today, and share with you today is one of my art journal pages and kind of putting it together. And then if you would like, I'll add a link in the description below. You can pop over to my page and see me turn that journal page into a piece of art. So I'm pretty excited about that. And let me just start by saying this journal page was started, that I'm going to share with you, was started with, I mixed up some plaster of Paris to make a Paris plaster mixture, and the plaster of Paris didn't dissolve enough, so it was kind of gritty. So I just painted it on a open journal page, and then I added, you'll see I added some masking tape down the center. Not sure why I did that, but I liked the effect. So just goes to show some things that you do aren't planned, they just turn out pretty cool. And then what I did is I took my acrylic inks and just did splotches and kind of moved it around with a wet paintbrush, and I got a really nice watercolory effect for a floral. So I'm going to share that with you. Let's get to it. I just wanted to give that little explanation of how this page came about, and then let's see what I do with it. Anyway, thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Kelly's followers, for popping in and watching what I have to show you. Every day. So, I was in Michael's yesterday picking up oil paints for another thing, and I just picked some, just the little acrylic colors because they're really easy to work with. They just, squirt onto the palette, and they already colors that I like. So I'm going to work around this and see what I come up with. I put a little white out. This one's actually vanilla. I love that. I love these soft muted colors. I think I'm going to do, this is Villa Green. I always like to wet my brush first before I dip it in the paint. I just want a little hint of that green in there, and I'm just going to go negative paint around this and let those flowers, these imagined flowers of mine, step up a little bit more. And if you don't know what negative painting is, it's just this. It's painting around your shapes to create the shape that you want. I can define these flowers a little bit more and help them pop out a little bit more. Get a little bit more green in here. Some of the little marks I really don't want to give up. Like if I keep that one, it gives the indication of a stem. Now, granted, these paints are not that opaque, so I might have to go over this a couple times, but I don't mind. I find that really relaxing. And I like that I can come in and let's say that mark right there, I can make that be two different stems. And it's kind of fun. If you remember, I'm painting over this plaster. That has a really nice texture to it. And maybe when I get up here, I want to add, I might even want to add some blue. This is a really pretty blue, Dutch aqua actually. I'm not really looking to get rid of all the imperfections that are in the plaster. I love that little red dot, so I'm going to paint right around that. Now, there's also part of me that wants to not make this background so colorful. I could be adding a little bit of burnt umber, or I'm sorry, raw umber is what I like to kind of darken things a little bit. But since I've got this out on my palette, that's what I'm going to work with. And as I go down, I just am, you know, dipping into the lighter color, and so that my background isn't all the same color. I like some variation in there. And if I remember correctly, this was just the page that I added inks to, and then closed the page and kind of created ink spots, and then came back and hit some water on them, and kind of moved it around and let it create itself. It's turning out to be a pretty little floral painting. And I know I've mentioned this a million times. This is so meditative. This is why I love negative painting. It's really relaxing. You don't have to think a whole lot about it because you've got paint already there. You're just painting around it and letting things show up for you. Okay, here I'm wanting to tone it down a little bit. I already know I can do bright colors, but I think I'd like to tone down those bright colors. Now, here's the nice thing. Once I've gone over it with a bright color, and then I come back and dull it down, I let that bright color show up just around the edges, just to give a hint of it still being there. Kind of makes the color even more important, I think, because it's just a little flash of a surprise. It's always a back and forth. It's just a back and forth with your colors. Once you get your first coat on there, your first coat of negative color, a negative painting in the color of your choice, the rest of the coats are really easy to go back and go around and go over. You can be a little bit looser because you've already laid out your design, and it just makes it look more painterly. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this here because I'm really having a hard time deciding which way. I love the background here, and I love this vase. One of them has to go. I think, or maybe not, as I say that. Maybe one doesn't have to go. I keep thinking, my tried and true go-to is not everything can be important. So is it going to be the vase that's important, or is it going to be this beautiful texture? Good question. Maybe it can be both. What can I do to make it be both? I can, the vase is just really beautiful. I need to define it a little bit better. Let me see, let me grab another brush. And maybe that definition, well, maybe it can come in the way of stabilo. Where do I want that vase to end? I don't want it to be right here on my horizon line, so maybe right here is a natural place for that vase to end. And I'm going to let it run down right off the page. I'm going to use, since I have my stabilo in my hand, I'm going to come and make some marks on just a few of the flowers. And that's probably enough. Now let's hit those with a little water. Let's see, I'm going to say, this is my dark side, this is my light side, so I'm going to take some of that off there. Let it stay heavy over on this side. No. Now this is where I could start screwing it up. Now I just want to create a light side. This is the light side of my vase. I want to get a little of that color back in there. And then I'm going to take some of this raw umber and create a little shadow over here. I'm going to put just a little dab. That was the acrylic ink. The acrylic ink that I used in that background. Now I'm just going to use my Stabilo. I'm playing around. I'm experimenting. I have no idea if this is going to turn out the way I want it to. Although I have no way that I'm expecting it to turn out. There's a little shadow. I want to get some of that color in here. I want to dull down the white that's in these flowers right here. That's in the in-between. Because we know that those are now behind glass. Let me see if I can just stain it. I've just now made this a green glass vase. And I want to come back with my little brush, hit some highlights. This is in the back of the vase. And you don't have to do circles all the way around, just hit a couple spots. And then maybe one swatch there. And I think now that I'm looking at it, I want to take a little bit, I don't want this white to match that white. So I'm going to take this and darken it up a little bit. Okay, I think I'm going to quit fussing with this. Let me see, it's been a half an hour, and that's the time I gave myself to work on these on this piece this morning. So it just goes to show you, you know, make some time. You're going to sit down and drink coffee anyway, or a glass of wine at night, or whenever your time is. Make time for you. Make time for your art. And even if you're not an artist, make time to go back in and, you know, play a little bit. You know, I once had a very well-known artist tell me, paint every day. Paint a 5x8, just a little painting every day. And before you know it, you too are an artist. I was already an artist when he told me that, but it really was so helpful in hearing that again. So there you go. It's done. I might, when it's all dry, go back in with my pencil and do some lining, but right now I'm pretty happy with this little guy.